Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at basically the performance of the TEQ LR Goku and Vegeta Angel after their Extreme Z Awakening and how good they are at 100% the hidden potential system and level 10 links. So we are going to get a really good idea as to how good they are. Now, they lead time limit or connected hope 180%. Connected hope really needed a new kind of top-notch lead, so this really helps out. 12 key, they raise their attack, greatly raise defense for one turn. On the 18 key, they greatly raise attack, and then greatly raise their defense for one turn, thus causing mega colossal damage to the enemy. They have key +2 and attack and defense of 200% with an additional 50% attack and defense when performing an attack. They reduce damage received by 40%, and they will create random rainbow key spheres. They get an additional 2 key per rainbow key sphere. They launch an additional attack that has a great chance of becoming a super attack. They get an additional 50% attack and launch an additional super with a rainbow key sphere obtained. And then they get an additional attack and defense of 50% and an additional damage reduction of 20% for one turn from their entry, or when HP is 70% or less at the start of turn. So, all in all, on the basis, pretty solid in their base form. In terms of build, additional seems to be the priority here due to what happens when they transform, but also allows them to stack attack greater in base, which is more than fine. They don't have any built-in crit in base, so you might want to have a little bit of crit, even though they are guaranteed a critical hit in their transform state. A tiny bit of crit might go a long way here, just to help out in base. Same warrior race, experienced fighters, Saiyan lineage, shocking speed, prepare for battle, fierce battle, legendary power are their links in base. And then they're on bottom, the parent and child, connected hope, final trump card, fused fighters, fusion, joined forces, Kamehameha, movie heroes, otherworld warriors, powerful comeback, pure Saiyans, super Saiyans, and time limit. In terms of their transformation, it's pretty easy to activate. You just need to be above 70% health from the 4th turn from the start of battle onwards. Once transformed, that's when things really kick off for these guys. They'll greatly raise attack and defense on their 12 key for one turn, greatly raise attack and defense for 3 turns on their 18 key. This is very important as it means their second time out, they're going to be at their strongest. You'll recover 30% HP once only, key +5, attack and defense of 250%, an additional attack and defense of 77% when performing a super. They'll perform a critical hit, guaranteed, and they reduce damage received by 40%. Randomly changing key spheres of a certain type to rainbow, and they get an additional 3 key per rainbow key sphere obtained. They get an additional 77% attack, and launch an additional super attack and guard all attacks with a rainbow key sphere obtained. They get an additional damage reduction of 40%, and foresee enemy super attacks before attacking for 5 turns from the character's entry turn. And when an enemy is hit with their ultra super attack, it will nullify unarmed super attacks directed at that character for the duration of the turn. And then they have a high chance of evasion. This is very important because it means for the first 4 turns when they're out, they can have 80% damage reduction, foresee super attacks, and guard with 1 single rainbow all picked up. They have Super Saiyan, Golden Warrior, Fused Fighter, Kamehameha, Prepared for Battle, Fierce Battle, and Legendary Power as their links when they transform. The big thing with them, once transformed, honestly, is that they, for 5 turns, essentially guarantee that you are going to be absolutely monstrous. Because during that 5 turns, the 4C super attack stays up in the alternate turns. So it's not like it's only up when they're in the rotation. It's up for the duration of the whole 5 turns. So what ends up happening is you basically can see super attacks for 5 turns, whilst also being able to output the biggest amounts of damage you have ever been able to output. The big thing with them, once that 5 turns is up, they do lose a little bit of defensive security, of course. You know, any unit that goes from 80% damage reduction to 40%, obviously, you know, they go from being technically a first slot unit to being not a first slot unit. But all in all, they should be fine because the units they're with probably are built up. They have intercepts from units like Gogeta, Physical Gogeta. There's lots of stuff they still have up their sleeve on the teams that they're on. And generally speaking, I'd say no unit gets past those 5 turns. I think the only awkward phase for me is in their base form. How far do you take them and how far do they go? Their defense in their base form can range anywhere from 380,000 to around almost 500,000 start of turn, depending on what kind of 2-turn buffs you have available. 40% damage reduction is pretty good, and after super they will have close to 1 million defense, so that is pretty solid with 40% damage reduction. But the big thing is they don't have guard. So although they are solid defensively in their base form, if you're not below that 70% health threshold, then they can potentially take a little bit of damage. Not an insane amount, but there is that window for them to take some damage. Of course, the biggest appeal of leaving them in base is the fact that they are able to output a demonstrous amount of upgrading to their attack. So like the more attacks they do in their base, the crazier that attack stat's going to be when you become Vegeta. Like just doing, for example, an extra turn or 2 in base form with all those multiple supers can push their attack stat from being like 22, 24 million with Vegeta to like 30 million with Vegeta, because that's just how the raising attack works, and then with the multiplier and then with the changeover, it's just how it functions. When they are Vegeta, obviously they're fantastic. 80% damage reduction is huge, guard is huge, force steal super attacks is huge, guaranteed crits is huge. So realistically really good. You also got to remember that when they fire their super attack, so you'll see like 27 million. Okay, really good. You might think, wow, Broly hits like 60 mil, but Vegeta has 27 million guaranteed crit, okay, and also guaranteed additional super attack as well. And you can do another super attack from the hidden potential system. So basically you can have up to 3 guaranteed super attacks, well not guaranteed, but 3 super attacks that are all guaranteed to crit, which in hindsight is really good, like really good. So yeah, Vegeta really solid as a unit, like incredibly good overall. I think the offensive output is pretty solid when you consider just how much defensive security he provides. Remember, this isn't just a unit that is an amazing tank for his first 5 turns. This is a unit that's an amazing tank for his first 5 turns, is self-serving himself with orbs, and on top of that is also giving you 4C all super attacks. And 4Cing all super attacks is an incredibly powerful ability. It's an ability that is very strong in all forms of Dokkan. There's a reason why they don't give it out to like every single unit, because it is it's probably the strongest ability in the game. Just the ability to see when super attacks are is very strong. I'd probably put it up there with the intercept ability as the strongest ability in the game. Vegeta's team right now, very strong as well. We've got the physical trio, who are great alongside Vegeta, who service him really well. We've got strength Vegeta and Goku Angel, who obviously turn into Vegito, link up very well with this unit, and the two of them are very good. They function really nicely together. We've got the physical Vegeta, who also pairs relatively decently with this unit. Even in blue, pairs with them not too bad. 5 links, so really good. Then we have Kamehameha Gohan, also shares 5 to 6 links with him. So all in all, we have a good roster of current meta LRs that link pretty well with this Vegeta. So I think overall, he's looking really solid. For me, a very good easy game. You have to measure the unit not entirely on the premise of their numbers. Like you might see, 700k defense, second turn out. That doesn't seem like that much. But you gotta remember, 700k defense, guard, 40% damage reduction. That's all very good. Then on top of that as well, you have to factor in, the first 5 turns it's 80% damage reduction. And then you gotta remember, after super, defense is huge. So very good unit. I think excellent. should you wait to transform him to Super Vegeta? It just depends on the event. If you can stack more attack, always stack more attack, and rather save that 4C super attacks for a bit later on. In terms of links, nothing too crazy. Some links do change when you transform, so try and prioritize Prepared for Battle, Fierce Battle, Legendary Power first, as those links remain the same. And then just base it on whether you're going to be predominantly in Gogeta form or not. If you're catering towards Gogeta, you want to look for Super Saiyan, Kamehameha, Fierce Golden Warrior, Fused Fighter, etc. Because those are going to just help him out a lot more. But yeah, it just depends realistically on yourself and what you're catering for. Like, are you catering for Gogeta? Are you really planning on keeping them in base longer? But there are units that link well with them across both of those. And generally speaking, I would say cater towards Gogeta, as you just get better output then, more so than if you cater towards the base form, because ultimately your goal is still to transform into Gogeta more times than not. So realistically speaking, I would say that's probably your highlight. But yeah, that's really about it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like. And yeah, if you're looking for any more help, let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then, take care and bye.